In this video, I'm going to present to you a possible structure that you might use in presenting your career plan back to the group. So first of all, you're going to want to think about what areas of work or position would you like to pursue? What is that? What does that look like? So you've had the opportunity to do quite a bit of individual and collaborative research around what that might look like, what sorts of companies are recruiting for that position, where do people hang out who occupy that position, what is that, what's involved, and so on. So being able to outline this with a bit of detail as well would be a really nice way of introducing. How does this link to your values? So we've done quite a bit of work around this. We started in the first session with the career journey. And in the career journey session, that was really about identifying what areas of work have you found to be very enjoyable? And what is it about those areas of work that's felt that? What attributes do you enjoy utilising and using? So coming from that, you develop the value statement. Think about how that then links to the job or position that you're occupying. It can be a really nice way of demonstrating why it's important to you. And in thinking about the relationship between what it is that you would like to do and where you are at the moment with regards to that. What's the gap? And therefore, what are the actions? There are a few different models that I'm going to talk to you about, and these models can be useful for you in breaking this down a little bit and thinking about what to think about moving forward. Now, these models are things that you can pick and choose between. Don't feel that you've got to use all of them. Just have a listen to the different ones and just think, okay, well, actually, this one might be useful for me, but not this one. This one could be useful. Or maybe you've got one or two of your own that you might want to use. So the first model that I'm going to talk to you about is called SMART goals. It's really common. I'm sure that you've come across this before. It's just a really simple way of thinking about what you would like to achieve and just structuring it so that you actually do it. It's kind of a way of holding yourself accountable, really. So thinking about where you are at the moment, what the role is that you would like to achieve or the area of work you'd like to achieve, and what's missing. Is it information that's missing? Is it about finding and understanding a little bit more about what that involves? Is it about getting some work in that area or getting some voluntary work in that area? Is it about talking to some different people and making those connections now? Is it about opening up a LinkedIn account and positioning yourself ready to be doing that sort of thing? So there's a few different things that you might do. So this is just a way of structuring it. So be specific. I would like to talk to 3 people by Tuesday next week, and I'm going to ask them these questions to find out a bit more information. It's time bound because you've said it's going to happen Tuesday next week. It's relevant because it relates to moving from where you are at the moment to the job that you're interested in pursuing. It's achievable Tuesday next week. It's not that soon. And it's measurable because you know exactly that there are 3 people that you're going to approach and, you know, this is what you're going to do. So being able to create actions that are a bit more pinned down. That's all that this model really enables. But it's a very useful one, so it's something that you might want to consider. So the next one is the Eisenhower matrix. This can be really useful when you're thinking about what's achievable, which is one of the columns on the SMART goals. So when you're thinking about what's achievable, you're going to have all sorts of different things that you're grappling with and juggling at the moment. And you can divide these if you feel that, well, I really don't have the time for this, you know. It's basically a way of thinking a bit more critically about what it is that you're doing. So it's questioning how you're currently spending your time and thinking about how you might be more efficient in that and focus on things that are important, because what can happen is we can focus on things that are not important. So it breaks things up into urgent, important, urgent, not important, not urgent, important, and not urgent, not important. So it enables you to eliminate anything that's in this area here. So how do you understand what's important? What is it that you are focusing on at the moment? What is the priority for you? What is it that you want to achieve? If something does not fit within that, then it is not important. Something can feel important because perhaps it's somebody else's agenda, or perhaps it's something that, you've always done. But this gives you an opportunity to reevaluate it. When something's urgent, it can really feel important, even if it's not. And so then focusing on the area of important, when something's not urgent, this is where your planning and your strategic thinking and your relationship building and your improving processes and learning a new skill comes in. So if you can get rid of some of the stuff that isn't important, then what's that doing is it's creating space and time for the career planning activities that you're creating at the moment. So this matrix is a really useful one in really carving out that time that can be really powerful in moving forward. So it's readily available. If you just put this into a Google search, you'll get a lot more detail and information than what I've outlined here. But it's just something that you might want to think about. And by doing this exercise, it might raise for you some questions. So those questions might be something that you reflect on in your presentation. So this next one is one that you're also very likely to have seen before. This can be really useful in thinking about, this is the career option or the area of work that I would like to pursue, and where do I currently sit in relation to it? What are my strengths in relation to that? What do other people say that I'm good at? What skills and experience do you hold? And although what's written down in this SWOT analysis is quite generic, you'll want to apply this to your particular job role or area of work. So what strengths do you hold in relation to it? What weaknesses do you hold with regards to it? Like, where can you develop? What are the opportunities that you're aware of? So what networks, courses, places, online spaces could enable you to develop your strengths? And what threats do you notice with regards to it? What do you need to be aware of? And thinking about that, certainly the opportunity section, you might want to do something like a social network map, where you identify the different people in your network that could be useful in giving you that additional information or those additional skills, or provide you with opportunities to be able to move forward in that area. So who could be useful people to really have a conversation with around that, So this is completing a SWOT analysis. In this presentation, I've covered a few different areas. So I've looked at a possible structure that you might use for presenting your career plan moving forward. To first of all outline what area of work and what position you'd like to pursue, how that links to your values. And then we've talked about some models that might support you in thinking about what to do next. And I'm hoping that from doing some of these activities, you will gain some insight that you might then share informally with the group in your presentation. It could be that you actually visually show people your SMART plan. It might be that you show us your SWOT analysis or your Eisenhower matrix or your social network map and what you're going to do in relation to that, how that links to social media, for example. There are all sorts of different ways that you can do this. The final thing that I think could be very useful is to think about your timeline. So what is it? That might be a curve, it might be set up in a different way. What is it you are going to do at what point? What's your time scale? From next week, for the next month, I am going to do these things, and these are the goals that I want to achieve. From next week to the next 6 months, I'm going to do these things. Or for the next 3 months. Have you got any landmarks around when you'd like to get certain things done by? If so, tie into those. Are you going to put any accountability structures in place? So these are all things that you might want to think about in creating that final timeline and just bringing it all together.